Thanks so much for having me. That's me. I write songs for those that love Van Gogh's paintings. I tell people that it's a philosophy that I developed over time because I think that if you can close your eyes and imagine one of Van Gogh's works and tell me how it makes you feel, you might like my songs. It is easy to say that I sound like someone else that I admire or someone that I've studied, but that immediately creates an image or a sound in your head that you probably will never let go, and you'll always compare me to that person. So I think that philosophy works better for me. And I'd love to talk to you more about it. I'm going to rip through these slides because I'm more interested in the conversation really than talking about myself. These are two studio works that I've released, and they're now available on all of your favorite streaming platforms. I just this week in thinking about this presentation decided that it would probably be a good idea to let people hear me even if they're not able to come see me play live, which is my favorite way to present myself into my guitar. This one in particular is interesting, I think, to people because the tracks that I did, I recorded at Sun Studio in Memphis, Tennessee, in the same room that Elvis, Johnny Cash, and all the people that we've been listening to for our entire lives recorded. So a friend of mine that's here said that she was interested in understanding a little bit more about my writing process, so I thought I would bring this, if you could pass that around a little bit. I'm passing around the cartoon that I drew, because I've developed this idea that I tend to romanticize everything, but the idea is that there's all these little birds that are flying around, and they have ideas, and they come to your window, and they sit at your window, and they leave little packages, and this is the little packages carrying, and they hang it on the hook, and you can choose to open the window and take the package, or you can leave the window shut. And I've, in the last 10 years or so, I've decided just to open the window every time the bird flies by. These are photographs that I've taken. This is me at the great National Sand Dunes selfie. I use these images to come up with ideas, but also to take myself to those places when I'm singing about them. I'm use my actual notes here. So my approach to writing has developed over time, but my goal is to create a visceral and lucid landscape so that you and I may be transported to these places and defy time and space. And so for the moments that I'm playing or that you listen to me in your car or in your home, you and I can go somewhere together. So that's where it comes from and where it's intended to go. These are all on my Instagram, which I'd love it if you follow me on my Instagram. Let's see. The other thing that I wanted to say about word density, the music that I've been attracted to all my life is really the kind that contains so much in just a few sentences. I performed and opened for an artist that has been touring all of his life, and he said that when I sing, I sound like the way that John Wayne spoke. And I think there's some truth to that because I grew up watching a lot of John Wayne movies, and it sticks with me, and I choose now in my writing to be conscious of the density of the words that I use. I think that everything has a yin and yang, and art's opposition is static thought. So if we can bridge that gap and get someone to dive in deeper, we may actually be able to connect with them in a visceral way. I love the word visceral. I wrote down a definition that I found for it because I think I've used that word a lot and probably didn't understand what it meant. It is an emotional connection that actually creates a physical connection. I can't remember now who I was talking to about that, the art or music being the highest form of art, in that it creates an emotional and physical connection without you needing to understand the words. it's easy to do in a physical medium, have an attraction to an appearance, but with a song, it's something that connects with your soul in many different ways. So I'm a touring artist. I tour the Midwest. I found this picture and it made me laugh out loud when I saw it, so I thought I would share it with you. I go to different music conferences, some in the Midwest and some international, and this is often the reaction that we have when we tell people we're from Kansas City. So I would like to expand that, the region. I do perform in Oklahoma as well. It's not covered on that map, but I'll get to my goals here in a second. So part of this conversation that we're having is about financials, and these are some of the categories of financials. I know my good friend Terry, talented Terry Boyden, is going to speak a little bit about her financials as well. So I can tell you that it's expensive to create something in a studio. It's expensive to market it. It is, especially when you're an independent artist and you're trying to do everything yourself. I'll come back to trying to do everything yourself at the end, but cost of tour, those are expensive. It is a daunting hill to climb. Cost to produce shows. I produced a show last Thursday that we grossed around $500 in ticket sales. I lost $300 on that show. The next night I did a house show and I performed for half an hour. It took probably maybe 2 hours total in preparation time to do that, and I made $270. So those are the kinds of financials that the sector I'm in right now, and the obstacles that I have. So my goals are, I think with any musician that you might speak to, these are similar goals that you'll probably hear. I've specifically decided to choose to use Patreon. I've set up an account for that. My goal this year is to grow that as a source of revenue, to be able to do the following goals, which are tour consistently in the Midwest and Southern region. I think those are the best demographics for my music. I tend to write very pastoral country songs, and they connect with people in these areas. I found, as I just mentioned with the house concert, that seems to be a true source of revenue and sustainability. So that's part of my goals in the near future. Additionally, I want to record albums. I've listed 2 here that I've been writing songs to, and I know I have over 30 songs for this one, and this is a continuous goal to create this wholesale monument. I'll talk to you more about that if you're interested. Challenge is reaching new markets, constructing a network of consistent performing opportunities, reaching a new level of income from my art, and leaving my day job. Those are ones that probably every artist has gone through. And, my needs are time management. I'm struggling with that right now in this conversation, this presentation. I recently took a assessment from on Michael Hyatt's website. He's an author of a book called Freedom to Focus, and this was the result. You're operating at a frustration level. And when I saw that, I had a sense of relief because it's true. So those are the things that I need help with. The main thing that I said this right before I started, that I believe I can do everything. I have done a lot of things in my life, but it isn't true that you can do everything in the amount of time that we have on Earth, and I'd like to do more. This is one of Van Gogh's most famous paintings, and probably my favorite that I think of when I close my eyes. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I do not want to be a needle in the haystack of a journey.
All right, let's give John a hand. So who would like to open up with our first question? Paul?
If I take this up, could you hear me okay? I'm sorry, I was...
Yeah. But it's good to speak in the mic because we have
Yeah.
video going.
Did you have a question, Paul?
I did, thanks. So what is your day job?
I design software, which is one of the heaviest of the golden handcuffs, I think. I'm very, very fortunate.
So I'm trying to think about how you might, the idea, I think, is have a day job that doesn't frustrate you, that you enjoy, and that is maybe more organically tied to your passion, which is music. So I don't know if you've ever considered music education, offering lessons.
I have, yeah. I've started to look into that. I've had people ask me, and in the past I've always said no, because I'm not classically trained, and I need to think about it more. And there's the potential for me to offer something to if they find me interesting and want to learn from me, then I have that opportunity to teach them what I know and where my music comes from.
Yeah, I think, another idea just popped into my head, might be teaching a course in songwriting.
Yeah, I think that I'm getting to the point where I would feel comfortable doing that. I'm continuously writing, and it is not something that I've thought about sharing with other people, that process, but I think you're right.
And then you also find that as a teacher, you're learning constantly from your students as well.
Yes.
So it's a way to nurture your creativity and theirs and bring in revenue for you in a way that isn't adding to your frustration index, but hopefully lowering it.
Yes. My mother was a teacher, so I've had quite a bit of, that could be why I've stayed away from it.
Sorry, that's not meta. That's an example, I think, of the kind of long-term goal you should have for yourself, is find ways to augment your revenue in things that you can be good at,
Yes.
that are more connected to what you really want to do.
Thank you. This is a very good idea.
Yeah, we have a performer from Miss B's, and she does all their bookings, and then she does bookings for special events too. And so that's one of her ways that she stays. She's in the business performing, but as well as a booker.
So I have a question, just not from ignorance. What is a house concert circuit? And can you describe that and how you could do more of that?
Sure. There's organizations that help promote artists within a list of different people private people that have concerts in their homes. That's actually the name of the website that you can sign up for, is Concerts in Your Home. And so just in a room like this, any room will work. They do the organization, planning, and promotion of the event. So it's very lucrative because there's no venue costs. And it's a great opportunity to hear music in a very unique way. I'm sure Terry's done house concerts, I know, and she hosts them, yes. So it's very easy to do. There's several in this area. It's really about connecting with people that are more interested in the actual music and the community that it creates than going out and the lights and the drinks.
Did you want to flash to one of your challenge goals or needs?
Oh yeah, there you go.
Finance.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Every time staff, it all comes back to hours and how to give them help with that.
We have a quick question.
Question.
Here.
Yeah. What do you think that listening rooms, such, I'm trying that project through my shows at St. Mark's, but also Rhino and some of the other places are trying to establish themselves as true listening rooms where you're not in a bar or a restaurant where half the people are inattentive or loud, and what do you think the future for that is in Kansas City, and how can we build on that?
I think there's a great future with people like you that are wanting to do it and care about that particular portion of entertainment. I have a business degree, so I think in both terms, when I'm having these kinds of conversations, venues have to make money. They can't stay open. It's expensive to have property. So even the Rhino Room, which is in North Kansas City, it's an amazing venue that I've gotten to play at. They have to pay rent. With and your experience in that where you are, and you have a vested interest in keeping that physical place open. So I think of them as being two separate types of things, because concert in your home is something that you're opening up your doors to the place that you live. So they're slightly separate, but I do think that there's an audience that's building, and that's one of my goals of being part of Folk Alliance, is to find ways to contribute to the community globally, but also here in Kansas City, and building that audience, letting people know that there's that opportunity to hear music in that format.
So do you do web work as well?
I do, yeah.
Because for those, at least for promoting the social media, you might be able to exchange with a freelance marketer or graphic designer.
Yes.
That service and.
That's a great idea. I've done it a little bit. What I have found is that it takes a great deal of time, because normally we're working with people that aren't used to working with a professional, and they can't provide the assets. Same issue that I had getting my presentation to you happens with clients, and then you're working with a small individual, trying to get the payment from them. It can be a challenge as well. So it can while it is a skill that I have, it can add to my time management issues or challenges.
Yeah, well, I'm a designer, and what I do is I freelance, and I do freestyle payments. So
yeah.
But other questions?
I'd like to hear more. We'll talk
Okay.
more.
Other questions? What can you flip to this slide?
I'm sorry.
Can you flip to your goals?
Goals. Yeah. So I ran through these quickly, but is everyone familiar with Patreon? It's an opportunity to contribute to an artist that you like on an ongoing basis. Typically, they plan to create a certain amount of content, and you it's like a fan club that you are paying to belong to, and it's really I've seen a lot of success through artists that I like. And they're able to create a revenue stream from that. So I've thought about it for a long time, and I think I can commit to that kind of content delivery. I mentioned to someone before we started that I'm continuously writing, so it isn't that I have trouble finding the time to write. It's more that I have trouble finding the time to record it and release it, because that's the way to perpetuate yourself. So if I can follow some of the Patreon models, self-releasing items, I can do that more quickly.
If people in this room wanted to host house concerts, how would they go about doing that?
Sure. Sign up for my email list. It's on that table right there. Terry and I will be at your house Sunday.
Well, I also wonder, like what kind of size? I've seen it in apartments.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a size restriction? What do you need to host a house concert?
Not really a size restriction. I tend to
go in the party. Right. Yeah.
It is really, you're having a party, you're having designated entertainment. And the idea is that people sit and listen, and then the party, we have conversations afterwards. And I know Terry has her own PA system, so if it's a bigger space, you tend to bring some kind of amplification, but it really can be done anywhere. Yeah. Polly, do you have another question?
Paul?
Someone that has a website with sort of the rules of doing a house concert. Is there something about you have to give the artist all the revenue, the money you collect, in order to not run afoul of the IRS and some tax thing? I'm trying to remember.
There's some nuances to it.
Is it the Folk Alliance that has a
To be
part
considered.
of the website for how to run a house concert?
Yes, yeah. There's a couple of different networks, but the one that I'm most familiar with is Concerts in Your Home. and they have specific rules, and they are affiliated with Folk Alliance. It is almost always donation-based, and that helps the people, the individuals that are hosting the house concert to avoid some tax issues.
Yeah. So that's something important. You might run into tax and licensing situations if you don't follow that.
Not really.
No?
It's so when I host a house show, or like all the house shows that I've hosted, like it's up to the artist to claim their taxes. So the person hosting the show, like it's not gonna affect
I
them.
think you need to be careful about that. You said if you take money in and then give it to the artist, if the money flows
It's
through
not
to
straight
you.
to the artist though.
Yeah, I think, well, anyway, but there's sometimes you're under the radar, probably no one's paying attention, but I think that there are some things you have to be conscious about. If you start to promote them, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not worried
I'll
about
look into
that.
that. Okay, never mind.
No, talk to Willie Nelson about that. It does happen. They will come after you.
I have actually, Kelly, do you still go down to Arizona often to perform, or was that was an area for you for a while, wasn't it?
No.
Okay. What are some other states outside the Midwest?
I just perform around here mainly.
Okay.
I've taken a few trips with Connie Dover, but I'm really pretty local.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where would you hear your music? How do you find your music?
All the streaming services now have it. My website is johnlkeck.com. Yeah, I think was it the last John Lawrence Keck is my middle name. People always want to know what the L stands for. It's too long to put on a t-shirt, so I put it in the presentation. I need to get t-shirts too. I don't know if you're going to talk about merchandising, but it's they seem to be the best investment, more so than physical CDs anymore, because the quantity of CDs that you have to create in order to make it profitable is high, and so that's a big investment up front. But yeah. Are there any other ideas that you have for me? I'd love to hear promotional ideas. That seems to be one of the things I struggle with the most. If someone else creates the event, it's so easy to send it out to your fan base, but just taking the time to actually set everything up is the struggle that I have, where my time management, it really comes into.
So, for acoustics, retirement homes are really good for acoustic players.
Yes.
And then, definitely they have a more, they have a whole staff that they're used to paying, so they're really reliable when it comes to payment and everything as well.
Yes, yeah. They have a budget set aside for entertainment, and I know I have several friends that do that regularly to subsidize their income. One of the things that I'm challenging myself with is to learn more covers, be able to play other people's traditional songs, and I would say 90% of what I perform is original work. So it is a hurdle that I need to overcome in order to get into that market.
You need to write more happy songs too.
More happy songs. That's true. I practiced this at home, and it seemed to go much faster. So when I started rambling on my slides, I was going to put a new song into the slides, but I don't think we have time for it today.
You know that here at the Kemper Museum, every Thursday night they have the same songwriter series.
Sign me up, whoever's in charge of it. I would love to do that. I've come to see some friends play. My friend Jessica, I think, was here last Thursday.
She was.
And she's fantastic. And Chase Horseman is, go back to these. Chase Horseman produced and played on this 12th Street singles. I called it Out in the Cold because I felt like there was these songs. There's one about a shooting. There are actually two about a shooting, shootings that have occurred in Missouri. And the first one is about my single mom and how I was raised and the advice she's given me. So it's called Out in the Cold. But Chase Horseman performed here a few weeks ago. He's an amazing producer here in town and artist as well.
Let's go back. Did you have a slide on needs?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Oh wait, challenges, I'm sorry.
Challenges. So reaching new markets is a big challenge because, and one of the reasons why I decided to put the music on streaming services, it's just hard for people to know who you are and get your foot in the door and have them come to your concerts. So venues are less likely to book you because you haven't been there before, but there's no way to get there until you go. So Terry, I don't know if you're going to speak to touring and the struggles there, but it is, it's a challenge. You have to know going in that nobody's going to be at your shows for the first round, the first time you visit a city. So those are new markets are a challenge for any artist, I think, but for music, it's especially, you have a lot of competition with music.
When it comes to your reaching new markets, have you, I know you're on Instagram stuff, but has that led to anything where people are coming to your website, or do you also go on YouTube as well? And
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people can get reached through Instagram just by the small vignettes you can produce, or even the stories that you can bring them along with.
I really do like Instagram for music and visual arts as well, but that actually has worked for me. I've been speaking to someone in Joplin who's interested in having me perform, and it's a quick way to connect with people that are like-minded. You can very rapidly go through their collection and see what kind of things that they're interested in, and it is, yeah, I think Instagram's the best. I have YouTube presence, Facebook presence is the next strongest for me. The videos there seem to be, well, one, it's just easy to boost your video and get a lot of views, which helps. It's inexpensive to do that. But Instagram so far has been the best. And yeah, I'd love to hear if anybody has any success stories through Instagram, ideas that you've done. Those are helpful.
I help plan a lot of arts concerts, like arts fairs and things like that, and they usually have musicians come perform.
Yeah.
And that's been a great way to learn about people because you get to see them actually act live. They're like, well, I want to book them for something else.
Right.
And there's a huge circuit of that around the Midwest. Smithville has one, North Kansas City has one, Gladstone has one, just in this area.
Yeah.
And they usually have a budget for performing artists as well, while people are cruising the tents for visual artists.
I'm performing at the Lee Summit Arts Festival in the fall, and I'm excited to do that. I haven't done a Platzographer yet, but those are the kinds of things I think after a house concert that I enjoy the most, because you know going into it that it's a concentrated artistic audience.
Yeah, I would ask whoever booked you for Lee Summit, right?
Yes.
To ask them for contact information for other art fairs.
That's a good
coordinators. So.
Yeah.
Okay, we are at time for our last question. Is there anything that we haven't answered today, or something you would like to stress that we as a community can do to help you?
Just continue to be supportive and come to things like this. It's really important. It is a community, exactly. It's the best word for it, and I appreciate being part of it.